What's up? This is Marco back on the Sage of Soccer channel. Today I'm going to be doing my preview for the Euro 2020 qualifying games, and they're going to be timestamped in the description if you want to jump to your favorite team, and I apologize in advance for all the mispronunciations I'm going to do. I'm an American idiot and not too good at these. But anyway, let's jump into the Group A game. We have Iceland against Hungary, and this is a pretty decent game. You have Iceland, and going to this game, they're actually a little bit different from their Euro 2016 team. They have a much improved attack, in my opinion. They have a really good ability to score goals against big teams. I think they've proven themselves against great defenders in the past. Now the defense has been a little bit suspect, but I think they have the pedigree to really expect them to do well. So now some weaknesses of the team. They're really aging. They're starting to get up there. I think there's a real lack of athleticism in this Iceland team. When you look around the team, there's nobody really fast. There's some good strength in the midfield, but that could really be exploited. I'm not sure if Hungary have the players to do that, but something I wanted to throw out there. And their defense has been a little bit suspect, but as I mentioned, they do have the pedigree that I'll give them a pass, and they did do well against Romania. So now, some players to look out for. You have Gylfi Sigurdsson, the star of this Iceland team. He hasn't been the greatest in the Premier League this year, but on Iceland, he's the man. You've got Finn Bogason, him up front. He's a very solid striker. You have Good Johnson and Gunnarsson providing a lot of midfield cover, and a defense led by Sigurdsson. Jeez, I'm butchering these names, but anyway, good, very decent Iceland team. I think if they make the tournament, they could really make some impact. So for Hungary, I think their real strengths lie, and they have a lot of players who are just above the level of the rest of the teams right now. This include all the Red Bull system players that they have: Dominik Sosa-Busquets, Will Orban, and goalkeeper Peter Kulaski. I should have put these names in phonetics, but all of them are just very good players who can really take over a game, elevate this team. So now the weakness, they really don't have any great aspects. They've been mediocre in their goal scoring and defense that hasn't been the greatest. Then again, if their goalkeeper has a really good game, if their goalkeeper and defense, they can really get going, it's going to be tough for this Iceland team to break down. But overall, I see this Iceland team coming away with a win. They're qualified for the last two major tournaments. I think they're going to be carrying themselves very well, and it's a team that I have a good amount of confidence in. So next, we've got the Path B games of Northern Ireland against Slovakia. And it's another game that's kind of tough to predict. Northern Ireland, I think their biggest strength is a strong defense on paper. When you look at their defense, you have Johnny Evans, who's going to be coming back from everything I've read, Craig Cathcart, Jamal Lewis, Stuart Dallas. Very solid defense, but it's very inconsistent. We saw the good in it when they were able to keep a clean sheet against the Netherlands, but we've also seen it be very suspect in these last few weeks. And a suspect defense is going to be a theme of a lot of these teams, but it's not something that I can really rely on, despite its potential. Then also, another strength, they seem to score a lot of late goals. Just something I wanted to throw out there, and if it happens, I can look like a genius. Some weaknesses is they really haven't beaten a team that's at a better level than them in a long time. I mean, they were able to get that draw against the Netherlands. They had some decent games against Germany, but in terms of beating a team that they really shouldn't, it's not that big of something that you expect them to do. Though I think that Slovakia is around their level, so just something I wanted to throw out there. Some weaknesses. Another weakness is no reliable goal threat. I believe their striker is on Hull City right now in League One, and a Serie B guy in there, but I don't think there's anybody who can really rely on to score. So some of the players to look out for at the back line, as I mentioned, Stephen Davies, he's another good guy. Paddy McNair, remember Manchester United was playing him a while back, but he's another guy to look out for. Decent team, solid defense on paper, as I mentioned, but I think the best chance is a 0-0 draw that goes to penalties. So for Slovakia, I think their strengths are a good goal-scoring record. they've been able to come up with a lot of goals in the past. Though it should be said that their promising striker Robert Bosnak, he's going to be missing out on these games. He's injured right now, and they have a lot of potential shutouts with their defense with Inter Milan goalie Skriniar, him back there. Unfortunately, again, Dubravka is going to be missing out on this game, and they've got a strong midfield. Hamšík is in there. He's still playing. You've got some guys like Duda in there, and Stanislav Lopetica, he's another good player. Very good team, but are missing a lot of players on paper. Are missing a lot of players due to injury, I should say. Then another weakness, I mean, this is a defense that is liable to concede. They've really not been doing well at keeping clean sheets, though I'm not too sure if Northern Ireland's going to be the team to buck that trend. Then they've also struggled against stronger sides, similar to Northern Ireland, but again, not really an issue. So this game is very tough for me to predict because I think that Slovakia is the better team, but they are missing a good amount of players. Though Fulham goalkeeper Rodak, that's not too big of a downgrade on Dubravka. He is a downgrade. And Bosnak, he didn't even play in their game they won. So again, it's very tough for me to predict, but I think Slovakia is going to come out on top. They just got a lot of quality players, and I think that quality will shine through. So next we've got the Path C games of Serbia against Scotland, and this is a game that I feel confident about. Though, let's get into Serbia first. They have a really good goal-scoring record. They got 17 goals in 8 qualifying games. They've really been playing well. They were getting some points against Portugal and Ukraine. This is a team that you saw how good they could be against a Norway side that a lot of people had predicted to do well and even do well in the Euro itself. But the big question mark is their defense. They did concede 17 and 8 in the qualifying games. Good goal differential of 0. They didn't get a single clean sheet in those qualifying games and weren't able to keep a clean sheet against Norway, though that is a good Norway side. But, it is tough to predict how this team could go. Great attack, really suspect defense. Players to look out for, you've got Serge Milivojevic. He got 2 goals for them off the bench against Norway. You've got Tadic in there, Masinovic in the midfield, Mitrovic and Luka Jovic up top, Kolarov in the defense, and a very promising goalie in Rajakovic. I think he's going to be a guy who can get pretty big pretty fast. Then for Scotland, you got some strengths in the midfield that is very good. They've got a lot of options to play. You got John McGinn, John Fleck, a couple of those Celtic guys, Scott McTominay, he could play in the midfield or on defense. They actually have a pretty good goal-scoring record against smaller teams, though I don't think any of their forwards are really someone you need to look out for. So their weakness is their defense really leaves a lot to be desired, though I should say that last international break, I don't think they allowed a single goal, so that is something to remember. And another mistake is 2 of their best players, Andy Robertson and Kieran Tierney, played the same position, though they have been playing a 5 at the back, so it's likely that Tierney will be pushed into a left center-back role. So players to watch for Scotland, Andy Robertson, possibly the best left-back in the world right now. You've got John McGinn, Ryan Fraser, Scott McTominay. Those are all some players to look out for. If Oliver Burke comes on off the bench, he's a guy I really like. Maybe he could run out the Serbia defense, but yeah, that's the Scotland team. Overall, I'm really predicting a Serbia win. They've got a lot of quality in this team, and really, I expect that to shine through. I think they're going to be able to put up a lot of goals in the Scotland team. Last, and let's be honest, least, we've got the Path D games between Georgia and Northern Macedonia. And Georgia, this is a tough team to predict due to all the injuries and just overall uncertainty around this team. I've honestly not even been able to find the squad that they have for this game, but from what I can see, a couple of their attackers are injured. They may not be calling up their MLS players, which are a pretty good part of this side, so not even going to go through the players, just generally what the team is about. So, very strong defense. They only allowed 2 goals in their 6 Nation Leagues games, and I think that's something you could use to really compare this team, because that's about the level Northern Macedonia is going to be on. Another strength that I think won't even matter, but I'll just mention it, Georgi Kakfedesky, oh, I shouldn't have mentioned it. He's been big in the Nations League for them, and if he is back, which I don't think he is, he's a guy who could be a real goal threat. But their weakness, as I mentioned, coming up with goals, Georgi is probably going to be out, and when they were playing some good teams in Switzerland, Ireland, and Denmark, they had 6 games against them, and they were only able to come up with 1 goal, and it was in a 5-1 loss. So attack is a huge issue for this team. Then for Northern Macedonia, where their strength is, they really find ways to win. This is a team that you saw in their game against Kosovo. They came up with an own goal, got a set-piece goal. They just find ways to win against teams that they really can play against. They've got a very strong midfield, especially for this level. Elif Elmas, Enes Bardi, 2 very solid players. A lot of top 5 league players. You've got fullbacks Ristovsky and Leeds' Alioski. Some very solid players there. And Inter Milan legend? Not sure about that. Goran Pandev is there. So some weaknesses for this team. Much more suspect defense than Georgia. It'll be tough to see if their attack can find a way through. It's similar to the Northern Ireland Slovakia game, where you have what's the opposite of an unmovable object against an unstoppable force? You've got that situation there. But overall, I think this, with how Georgia is really in doubt right now and how good this Northern Macedonia team is, I think I feel confident in picking North Macedonia to win this game. That's about all I have for you. Yeah, I'll see you after these games. Peace.